Ladies and gentlemen, recovering emo kids, my name is Rob LaFoon. Welcome to Emo Kids Anonymous. Unfortunately, my co-host Amanda could not be here today, but I do my best to navigate this by myself. Now today, I'm joined by Patsy from The Low Blow out of Nashville, Tennessee. And if you read my top 25 albums of 2025 list, you saw that The Low Blow is on that list. Their record from, I believe, October will fuck you up. It is so heavy. Patsy, and I quote here, Patsy is the transgender Lorax, okay? The transgender Lorax, that's the line we're running with. But before we get into that, this fucking super cool conversation, obviously can tell you guys to subscribe, like, follow, all that stuff would mean a lot. Check us out on Instagram as Emo Kids Anonymous, on Twitter as Emo Kids Anon Pod, and on TikTok as Emo Kids Anonymous Podcast. That's right. Our original TikTok got shut down. The powers that be over at Big Emo. They're coming for my head, okay? They're coming for my fucking head. But I won't let them take me down because I'm here to stand up for you. I'm here to stand up for the low blow. Before we get to that, obviously, I'm going to tell you here, you know how it is. This episode, it's brought to you by Protégé. What is Protégé? Protégé is the all-in-one face cream. They'll take you from fuck to fresh, okay? It's got retinol. It's got sunscreen. It's got all that. And when you go over to Protégé.com, you enter the code EMOKIDS at checkout. Guess what? Guess what? Are you paying attention? Your first bottle is only $10. That's right. Emo Kids at checkout. Your first bottle of Protégé, only $10. Now, with all that being said, now that you're back from going and buying your Protégé, I want you to enjoy this interview here with Patsy from The Low Blow.
Comfort my parents in losing a daughter that both of them still call a son.
I'm very excited to have you because we got to talk about this record. It's fucking me up.
Okay, good. I think that's
Hell
good.
Yeah. No, it is a good thing. It is a very good thing. So, welcome to Emo Kids Anonymous. It's an honor to have you. Unfortunately, Amanda has events with her children. My children don't get invited to these same kind of parties yet, I guess. So, you're good. You're stuck with me alone. But
that's all good.
I guess introduce yourself to these viewers and, explain a bit about who Low Blow is. Because is it just going to be you representing the Low Blow today?
It's just me tonight. So everything that I say is legally binding. And
perfect.
I will be incriminating my friends in the band The Low Blow today.
Beautiful. I will be incriminating Amanda here. So everyone, yeah, it's the way it goes.
The Low Blow, we're a band from Nashville, Tennessee. We started back in 2018 on New Year's Day, or I guess New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. And we started off as like a neo-soul band, which was kind of funny. And then we moved into emo and alternative music because that's what we liked. And now we're here.
We're going to have to, you skim right over the new. So is this some beautiful meet cute scenario on New Year's Eve where we magically discover, like, we all played hey, we got a bass player. Hey, you can play the drum. Like, how does this happen?
We were a different lineup back then, but the story goes that we were me and Connor, the guitar player from The Low Blow, who is currently the guitar player, have been in bands with each other since we were like 13. So I've known Connor since we were kids, and we used to do, we were in a blues band for like 6 years. So a very large portion of our adolescence was spent playing blues and R&B music, like bar gigs.
This makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were essentially
a lot together.
Yeah. We were essentially a Nashville, like bar band.
Yeah.
But we were teams.
When I think of Nashville's, I think of a band that can just next level live band, like very tight, like rootsy R&B, soul oriented country vibes to it, like little things that we hear throughout the record. Same thing where it's like because I think the same thing when I hear your guys' record. I'm like, it's like a Nashville band. Like I'm like, these are next level musicians because I went to music school here in LA, and I was told they were like, well, you write songs with a guitar, you need to go to Nashville. And I remember being like, I've never been in Nashville, but everything I know about Nashville tells me I will get swallowed fucking whole in that place the second I get on a stage. And everyone else is just so good at their instruments, and everyone's so tight. I'm like, that is just next level players.
Thank you. Yeah, we did the whole bar band thing for 5 or 6 years, and it was like oldies and goodies, blues music, 1,000 year-long guitar solos, just that kind of stuff. And
Just ripping, yeah. People
yeah,
wanting to
just
hear them
everyone gets a
scales, baby.
solo, bass gets a solo, for some keys get a solo. We were just that kind of band because we were just making, playing for 3 hour 3 hour sets, 4 hour sets sometimes, just to make money.
God.
And it was cool, like it was fine, but it was just not what we wanted to do. So Connor and I left that band to start a new band, and that band was then became then the Low Blow.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how things ended up that way. And then our first show was a New Year's Eve show. So that's the fun story. It's not that cool, but
It sounds magical though. Like it has a really magical headline there.
yeah, it's fun to be like, my band started in 2017 and 2018.
Right? Yeah, you kind of get that little time loop over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, technically 2017, but we like to joke that it was both years.
So you guys are all like the whole band's like born, raised Nashville, like locals to the area more so?
No, in fact, I'm the only one that's kind of close to Nashville that's been grown up around here my whole life. Connor grew up in like Eastern Kentucky / like moved to Bowling Green at some point. So he was in like he comes from a long line of like mountain people from like Appalachia.
Mountain people.
Yeah, in a good way / positive.
Yeah,
yeah,
non-derogatory mountain people.
Yeah, we like Appalachia here at the Low. And then Josh comes from a little town called Saudi Daisy, which is not far from Chattanooga. And it's not.
You guys got a Saudi in Tennessee?
Yeah, Saudi Daisy is the name of the city.
Like the place in Arabia?
Is it like that?
I mean, like spelling wise?
No, it's Saudi. Like
I was like, I feel like I don't know how that would go. Like I've
Saudi
been...
Daisy? No, it's
That's
Saudi.
I was like, oh, okay,
like grass, like SODDY.
Okay, yeah. Oh my, I was like,
yeah, we have
a
Saudi Daisy as well, which is a different place, but no, that's
that's a different thing.
Yeah, Josh is from Saudi Daisy, which is like around Chattanooga, kind of, and then Taylor's from Colorado, so he's like way a different kind of mountain person.
Yeah, that's a different mountain. Yeah, that's a little more on my end. Yeah.
Yeah, but we love. I mean, we've all been in Tennessee for the last like decade or two. So.
Okay, but you grew up fairly close to there, like in
I grew up.
region.
I grew up going to Nashville. I lived in a city that was. I won't disclose where it was, but I lived in a city that was near Nashville, and then Nashville was like the place we would go to when it was like fancy weekend time. We go to the city and. Yeah, I grew up going to live music shit all across Nashville my whole life. So it's like, it's kind of, the industry is kind of a second nature to me, but in a like a, not in like a Nepo baby way, but in like it's the import of the cities that I grew up around.
More of like a Bane way.
Yeah, sure.
Like you were,
like, I'm the DIY emo Bane.
But you're DIY emo Bane in a sense. Yeah, you were born in it, molded by it. Yeah,
yeah. There you go. That's what we'll say. Well, it's funny because like most of what I grew up playing was like bluegrass and country and like Southern gospel stuff. So it was like, it's funny because like my parents aren't even like particularly religious. It's just like when you went to jams, when you went to like garages,
that's what they
play. Yeah, they play like Old Mountain Dew and like I'll Fly Away, and that's the kind of stuff that we used to sing. So that's what we tried to kind of tap into a little bit with this record.
You guys, it's so fucking like there's parts of this record where like I think my word for word today when I was like talking about your record to someone was like, I have trouble listening to it all the way through. In the best sense. Well, I mean, in the sense, like I have the trouble listening to it all the way through sometimes if I'm not like in it, because like it's like watching a really good heavy movie. It's like there's so much like emotional fucking weight to it. Like I get like that. There's a lot of emotional weight for a straight white man like myself with the brain capacity of a cucumber to take in. Even by the time you get to Dead Nettles, where I'm just like,
yeah,
fuck. Like I'm like,
this
song is so powerful.
The first song is like is a real gut punch because it's like it sounds all hopeful and optimistic, and then at the end it's like no one's ever gonna fucking help me, bitch. It's kind of mean spirited. A lot of the record I've realized is like very mean-spirited in that it's like there's a lot of like hopeful and beautiful moments, but there's a lot of like really like no, there's there's nothing good waiting for you at the, and it's just like I don't know why I did that, but I guess I just
It's a
did it.
great balance where like I was like, part of me was like, I was like, ask Patsy if she needs help, like if she just needs a hug.
Yes.
Like, I was like, what else is part of it? Because it's like this little hopefulness, and like I think some of that now that I'm like knowing about this gospel, it's like these little bits like kind of shine through. Where like, you know what band you guys like some at times remind me of in a way, which like similar ties, Manchester Orchestra.
I've heard this, which is funny. I've never listened to Manchester Orchestra until like a couple weeks ago.
But it's like a similar thing where it's like, I think he was like the son of a pastor or something like
Yeah.
that. So like grew up like playing in church. It's like you integrate these other styles and like you kind of become like a better musician for it. But like these little things just bleed out in it no matter what. Like you can't hide like the soul like in your voice, you know?
Hymns to me are a reflection of like when humans congregate together, like our natural inclination is to build like that sort of like church is just community happening, but under you know, this idea of God. And it's like whenever I make music, I'm thinking very collectively. Like I don't think very individualistically when I write. I'm thinking about like, it's not about relatability. It's about like what is human, what is like the thing I
like
boil this down to.
Universability or universe as opposed to relatability.
Yeah, because to me music is hymnal inherently. Emo music is hymnal inherently because it's like hammering on truth that like is deeper than just like you know, like of course like there's shit like, you know, like oh I lost my job, my car stopped working and my girlfriend hates me and stuff like that, and that's like very real and true. But like on the deeper end of things, like we all feel this weight all the time and it's deeper than we can all kind of express.
Right, yeah, there's still something like sinking here, like this feeling inside of us that like and there's a similarity too with like music and I mean that's part of like the appeal of like church stuff to me is like they're getting you, it's a show, like you're just at like a concert, you know?
That's exactly what and it's funny because we get comparisons to like Christian music all the time, which is very, very funny for me personally, just because
I was gonna say it's fascinating because like I just you don't seem like the like super religious type maybe.
I used to be when I was like a kid, but I actually had a really weird relationship with the church where I was like super bought in to the point of like I would say like spiritual psychosis level. Like we were Catholic. I was raised Catholic, so very like the structures of that religion are bigger than just like your local community. It's like you're thinking on like scales beyond earth all the time.
No, yeah, I went to Catholic school for like 3 years in high school, but I didn't know anything about Catholicism till I was like 14 and already a punk.
Yes.
So by like it, like hearing it like from an outsider, especially like a little punk rocker, pissed off teenager, I was just like, what the fuck, you know? And
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But like I didn't grow up with it. Like I didn't grow up in that like a religious. Like I was the most like secular life ever, you know. And it's like wow, like fuck, this could really fuck with you.
It does because it fills you with it's like Catholicism is like a panopticon of shame and guilt. That's like you're constantly just like steeped in like everyone is watching me, and by everyone I mean God, and God is always watching me, and
He's always watching me.
I'm always doomed to fall lower than the highest aspirations I have. And when you like live your everyday life being like, I'm never going to be good enough for God. When you lose God, guess what? That who you're not going to be good enough for changes to yourself. And when you lose God, it becomes you that you're never good enough for. It's awesome.
Heavy. What was that again? I need that because it's going to go over the screen at some point. Panopticon.
A panopticon of shame and guilt.
Incredible.
Yeah.
We need to squeeze that into a song somehow. Damn.
Oh, hey, there might be something in the works. We'll see.
Right. Yeah. Right. So we grew up fairly religious. At some point, there's a breaking point.
Yeah. I think when I was like 14 or 15 and I started dating, I started to just realize that like, this wasn't because of the dating. It was just because of, you know, discovering my own identity, growing into myself, and realizing things about my gender and my sexuality that like The first problem that I had was the idea that there was a God that was more morally correct, or like a version of God that was the correct one, and
Mhm.
that we could all just like that people just from being born in the wrong part of the world could have the wrong God in mind and then go to hell because of
Yeah.
that. That just kind of blew it up for me, and then it was all downhill from there. I fell into like the whole like, I mean, I was pretty just like, I didn't mess with it for a few years, but like when I got into college, it was like the whole like Epicurean, like, if God demands something, does that make it good? How could God be omnipresent, omnipotent? And I was very like staunchly atheist, and now I'm kind of landed in a like
In
a
between area?
green pasture where I'm like, I'm not mad about it. I get why it happens. And also, like, I think divinity is real, but it's just like being a human being and
Right.
growing
It's
tomatoes
not
and
what you
stuff.
guys think it's not. It's yeah. I think that's a beautiful part of like growing up. Maybe even like this is like a universal punk rocker experience in my head, alternative person, but also maybe it's just a universal thing where it's like, yeah, you become like same thing where it's like maybe as a kid I would have been. Oh, I remember hearing from friends, and I think I kind of believed in hell or this or that. But then I'm a teenager, and it's like religious people are fucking stupid. Like I
Oh
can't
yeah,
believe
yeah.
you believe that. What's
Yeah.
your problem? Like I remember just like I'd be like, even in my 20s, like I remember like arguing with my very religious neighbors like about Easter and how it's not real. And this, I'm like 3 days. The guy goes down on Friday, he wakes up on Sunday. That's like a day and a half, and it's like, what am I doing? Like I'm not accomplishing, like they're not hurting. Like my issue is maybe with like the idea of like, like the mega churches or like influencing like,
Yeah.
but it's like these are just nice fucking girls that they just root for a different sports team than I do, basically.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
like
don't need to let
I
this
think
affect me.
truly religious people notice the same thing that all people notice, which is like there is something uniquely beautiful and divine about the world around us, but those things can just be the mundane realities that we have every day. I like part of this record, and I hate to bring it back to the record, but like part of this
No,
record
you
was
should bring it
like
back to the record. Yeah, let's fucking
part
pitch
of the
that
record
shit,
is like
Patsy.
is like is there something so scary about just being dead? Like, is there
Mhm.
something so unholy? I think that there is something uniquely holy and beautiful about like, yeah, being gone, being dead is like it is its own form of heaven. The way that we carry on and the way that people talk about
Yeah.
us, and then one day we extinguish like a candle in the wind. Like I am tired of like this idea that it has to be something so much more significant when the beauty is that it is insignificant. Like that to me is the beautiful thing. Like to me, like the way plants die in the winter and then come back seeded in the spring, that to me is God. Has nothing to do with the guy in the sky, but we all notice the same things. We're just given different names for it. And then some people want to legislate that into pen and paper every day.
That's where it starts getting, because exactly like you're saying, I remember having a conversation with a buddy of mine around the same time I would have been arguing with these neighbors, circa like
Yeah.
2012 Hollywood. Pictures say me, but face less worn, maybe like 8 pounds less. I don't know.
Sure.
But like telling a buddy, like, it's like, he's like, so there's nothing after you die. And it's like, isn't this just cool enough? You know what I mean? Like, there's some
Yeah.
trees over there. We're smoking some weed. Like, we're going to go eat pizza. Like, with
Hey
this,
man,
it's this
I'm not
invention,
thrilled
like,
about the state of our world either.
right? But like, there's
This
still
is
some
not
cool
my
stuff.
idea of heaven either, but we should be working for that rather than like hoping it's somewhere else.
Right? Let's figure it out now, because conveniently you mentioned legislation, like that group does have a tendency to ruin the things on this one right now.
For the
It's
preservation
difficult.
of one they don't know exists,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, it's
awesome.
that's not good. And like, I'm not an investor by any means, but yeah,
Yeah.
I would not buy on that one.
If I could see like an actual like security cam footage of heaven, I think I would still opt out. If I could
Yeah,
see
that's
like
fair.
if I could see like real like objective like time lapse footage of the streets of heaven, I think I would still be like, hey, sorry, I still don't I still want life
I'm
on earth
good.
to be good, man. You know, it's I
This
don't,
one, like, I still like this one. This one's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
fine.
Just let me go when I'm gone. When I go, just let me go. It's all good. I don't have to have an encore.
No. I like, wrap up the set. Wrap up, yeah.
Wrap up the set, know when it's time to go home, and that's for all you DIY bands out there. Wrap up the set, know when it's time to go home. It has nothing to do with death. It's about finishing your set on time.
Yeah, it's all a metaphor. Yeah, you got to read between the lines, motherfuckers. Yeah, like it's
I have
like
to adjust my camera.
beautifully said. That might be the most. Yeah, that might be one of the most morbidly said on this show ever. But it was done
Really?
so well. It was done like it was hilarious.
It makes me happy. I like, I don't know. That's one of those things that, like, I think a lot of people look at it and they're like, "Oh my god," but it's like, it's not a bad thing. It's like, it's peace. You know what I mean? Like, life is transient. You know what I mean? Like, we don't get sad when our cucumbers die in the spring or die in the
No.
wintertime. It's like, they're gonna go and then they're gonna come back eventually. Maybe
This
not
is
as the
like-
same cucumbers, but different ones.
No, it'll be a new one. But this is the low blow. Like this to me is the record as a whole in like verbal form right there, where it's the same thing. Where it's like where it's like this is like lyrically, I'm like, fuck, that's heavy. This is dark. It's morbid. There's that, but it's like this sounds really beautiful though. Like this
Oh,
sounds
thanks.
very uplifting. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
how
it's
I
just,
talk. This album is how I am.
I
This-
like,
the lyrics of this record are, I was very intentional in like, I want this record to sound like the way that I talk about things and not like me trying to sound like somebody.
Keep pointing at me.
it reads in your voice. Hold on. What's up, brother? You need to take something?
Just something.
All right, I'll see you later, dude.
It's not.
Later, buddy. Shut the door. Sorry, I hired staff and
No,
they've
it's
been on
all
break,
good.
yeah.
It's all good. I
Anyways.
work with kids, so I understand.
What kind of what kind of kid working?
I work at the Lego store.
Oh shit! Hell yeah! Don't tell that to this one here. Like fuck. Yeah.
Any sets that you want to know about, I got the word for you. So just let me know.
Damn, I was gonna say. I remember back in the day, like it was like a running joke. Like it was like the Marilyn Manson rib rumor. Like one of the ones was everyone always had like an uncle that worked at Nintendo or something
Dude,
like
yeah,
that.
I know.
About like the latest. You basically, you could be like, you're like the aunt that works at the fucking Lego store or
I
something
really
like
am.
that.
It's awesome. No, dude, it's a blast. Like, you get to meet somebody. It's like funny watching kids and adults alike, like, just be ignited with wonder. And like, that's just, to me, that's like such a human experience to be like, I can have fun. I can be silly and have fun. Yeah, dude,
Right? Yeah.
you can for free.
Would you say, as crazy as this may sound, would you say maybe your experiences with the youth and the joy of like maybe something like that might sound like mundane, like a retail job, but like that excitement and wonder that comes from the kids, does that ever play into somehow the almost what feels like the opposite when it comes to the music? You know what I mean? Just like where it adds to that perspective, like that life cycle you're talking about, where like, oh,
Yeah.
the youth, there's joy to it, like there's excitement, and then things wilt and.
I am somebody who, my whole life, I have admired melancholy. My whole life, I have been somebody who, it's not like I sit in depression. I would rather sit in the sadness that begets a depression, because I just really like. I think that sadness is us mourning things that we know are wonderful. Like being like, to me, death is not sad because it is like. The only reason it is sad is because we're mourning like a beautiful, wonderful life, or like something that could have been, or like something that we loved, or something that we care about. And so when I see youth and I see people happy and joyful and wonderful, I think sadness is just a reflection of, it's like, what do they say? Like your hope is closest to your greatest fear, is like, it's like the thing I hope for the most in the world is the thing I also fear losing the most. And it's like, I like, when I think of like my nephews and my niece, and I think about like how much I care about them and how much youth and joy that they bring to the world. I want to see a world that, like, is kind to them, and I am very protective of the beauty that I see in youth, and also just people in general. I'm very cautious to be the kind of person that's like, I hate human beings or I hate people. Like I would say I fucking love people. I think they're
I'm
great.
the same way.
I think
I'm
they're
the same
complex
fucking way.
and flawed. They're complex and flawed and dangerous sometimes when they get too unplugged from what it means to be human. But I think that there's a lot of inclination that is naturally interred in us to do the right thing for each other. And that's where I think a lot of my sadness or the melancholy that I play into comes from, is just like, it's hopeful and it's also very mean.
This
It's
is
very,
fucking
yeah.
beautiful. I feel like
Oh, thanks.
like you're saying, like these are. I think back to, and it's wild that here on Emo Kids Anonymous, this is the first time this is ever being referenced. But I don't. Have you seen the first time they do the emo kids on South Park? And they think I can't remember what way it goes exactly, but I think Stan is feeling sad, or Butters is sad, and then like the goth kid's trying to hang out with them, and he's basically he's
Yes.
like, I'm sad, but it's beautiful. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
can't feel this sadness without feeling this. And besides, I'd rather be like a crying little bitch than like a goth pussy or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and just like it's like fuck. Like
I am
but
the Butters of the emo scene. I will take that.
I
That
like
is
that.
very
I
much
think
my
that's
vibe.
magical. I like that because like I think like a lot of like older, like I think of like third wave emo, and what like a lot of people like in like my age bracket. I'm just assuming you're younger than me because everyone's younger than me that's on this show.
I'm 26.
You're 10 years younger, yeah.
Okay.
So like it's because we use Protege on this show. Enter emo kids at checkout.
Ooh,
First
there
bottle's
you
$10.
go.
That's why I look 26 over there. Okay?
Hit that plug.
Yeah, fuck. I could plug him with the best. You can call me Richard Gere. But like a lot of the emo is just like there's a lot of like a lot of like Taking Back Sunday, that era kind of like there's a lot of like misogyny, not so much just misogyny, but like negative feelings, and it's like negative anger and sadness, whereas like a lot of the like I think of like fifth wave, this wave, and this DIY community in general, like a lot of it's more like on two sides of the coin, where it's like melancholy or it's like yearning, and
Yeah.
like melancholy and yearning are two sides of the same beautiful emotive coin, and it's like
Yeah.
these are feelings worth feeling.
Mourning and hoping, loss and aspiration, like we were just talking about. It's human essence to be following a journey and striving for something greater and mourning when you can't get it. A record that I would be remiss to not bring up right now is my favorite fourth wave emo record of all time, which is Home Like No Place Is There by the Hotelier. And I bring that record up because that record is like the blueprint for how I look at grief, where I'm like, this is a record that is both like shatteringly harsh and mean-spirited in places, and also like very kind and sympathetic in other places, and it's dripping with hope and like melancholy, but also like it's also like so like brooding and dark, and but it's like I don't know, it's like when it's like a really beautiful day on a funeral is how that record feels to me. Where it's like it rained, like like it rained on the morning of her funeral kind of vibes, where it's like it's just like a beautiful like blanket over a sad feeling. And I'm like, everything I ever put out with the low blow, I'm chasing that like pocket of emotional vulnerability, because to me that's what speaks to me the most. Same with like earlier Foxing, I mean all Foxing stuff, but like those records to me, like that screenshot of like 2014, like that is like one of my highest aspirations musically, is just like that emotional like point.
Okay, so we really quickly while we're here, we got Foxing, we got the Hotelier. If you could throw in two more bands for like a fourth wave emo Mount Rushmore, who would they be?
Oh fuck. Okay. Now I'm like thinking, and I'm like, I can't name anymore, but that's not true. Fourth wave emo Mount Rushmore. See, like what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go back to this after I've had this conversation with you, and I'm gonna be like, I should have said this fucking this fucking band. I'm gonna look at my Spotify, which I don't use anymore, but I have all of my stuff from back then still
there. It's hard to make that transition. I got booted from Spotify. Like they just canceled my account because I had like a card. I needed to get a card canceled, and they just booted me. So I had to do it cold turkey. So now I get to like lord over people that like I don't use Spotify, but it wasn't by choice.
Real. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking back now, and I'm seeing what my Mount Rushmore. So if we're talking like four bands, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For me specifically, and this is not me being like these bands should be considered the top four. It's like these to me are like where I pull the most influence from. I would say The Hotelier. I would say Foxing. I would say, oh my God, I just had it. What was the band? Hang on. This is really embarrassing. Free Throw is up there. To
Good
me,
pick,
that
yeah.
is
Safe
like
pick.
an incredible band. And I would say that they're kind of like the tail end, but they definitely had a lot of stuff that was really good back then. I mean, Those Days Are Gone came out in 2014, so
Yeah.
I'm safe there.
Yeah.
And then like this is not a band that most people I think consider in the emo conversation, but to me, like they definitely nip at the heels of it is like the Midnight Organ Fight. Or not Midnight Organ Fight. Frightened Rabbit, the record is Midnight Organ Fight. Frightened Rabbit is one of those bands where I'm like, that band to me inspired so much of like the same kind of shit as like fourth wave emo kind of took from, even though they were kind of nipping at the heels of other stuff. But to me, like that's like when I'm thinking of what I'm pulling from the most, it's like those four bands. And then I love Have Heart and I love Listener. And I love just like stuff that's non-emo that sort of slots into that, but
Sort of kind
maybe
of like
that's
falls into like true emo. I feel like even on like the internet, I'll use emo adjacent and referring to like anything from like, oh, fucking Matchbox 20 is emo adjacent, but it's like that's more like true emo adjacent, where there's like or like a Joyce Manor kind of thing, where it's like, oh,
Yes.
there's enough of a link here, and it's still loosely associated with this world kind of thing, you know.
Completely. Okay, wait, I'm seeing some more now. I can give some better ones. Okay, Title Fight,
Pretty
Unreal.
fair, yeah.
Unreal, one of the best bands to ever do it. I also get a lot of influence from third wave too, you know, but like when I'm thinking fourth wave, it's like, yeah, to me, it's like The Hotelier, Foxing, Free Throw.
I was gonna say, like, if you're perfectly like 10 years younger than me, like that would have been like where like my spot where I'm falling into it really hard is like 03, 04 to like 07. Like, yeah, that would have been like you'd be like 13 to like 2013 to 2017 or so,
Yeah.
probably right there, where it's like, yeah, Hotelier, like that record comes out, you're like that
Yeah.
fucked me up like as like a 26-year-old man, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
No, I remember I was like, when I first listened to that record, I was 19 and I was chopping peppers at Mellow Mushroom Pizza when I worked
shout out
there.
Mellow Mushroom, yeah,
Shout out
one of the
Mellow
better
Mushroom.
pieces.
They fired me because I hurt my ankle. Unofficially.
Taking back the shout out, probably, yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
that branch
fuck Mellow
specifically.
Mushroom.
I like Mellow Mushroom. I don't like that Mellow Mushroom. That guy was a jerk. But
This is a chain in the Tennessee area.
Mellow Mushroom, I don't know if it's just Tennessee. I think it's more than just Tennessee.
Okay, I've never heard
But-
of this. Yeah, I've never even been to this general part of the country at all.
They have it in like Gatlinburg too. It's like a
Okay,
it's like
only
a tavern
pizza
pizza place.
I know 5 Points Pizza. Am I saying that 5 Points?
That's a big mainstay in East Nashville.
yeah.
that's
My buddy
crazy.
Mark worked there for fucking years. Yeah, apparently
Yeah.
that's like the spot.
Yeah, because that's over in the 5 Points area of East Nashville, which is like
Uh-huh.
that's like the place where like all the white hipsters go.
Yeah, that would fit. That sounds like my buddy Mark. Yeah, my
It
buddy
used to
Mark would have
be-
been drawn to that hard.
Yeah, it used to be like a really diverse and beautiful area, but you know, Nashville'd it and
Right down Mark's alley.
gentrified
Shout
the
out.
fuck out of it. Yeah, but it's a beautiful.
Mark's
still
not even a
beautiful area.
hipster white guy, but like at heart he is. Like at
Yeah,
heart
no, I
he's
get
got
it.
that hipster white boy in him.
You guys need to have your handhelds and your what's the like the matcha lattes. We gotta have those, guys. We gotta have those on every street
Yeah.
corner. Then yeah, no, it's cool. It's a good. I like East Nashville, to be clear. Shout out.
You're like, yeah, to be clear, yeah, don't want to upset the East Nashville community.
Yeah, East Nashvillians are like trying to kill me now.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
no,
so we
I-
were chopping peppers. Yeah.
chopping peppers. Yeah, and I was like cutting peppers, and I got to Dendron, and I was like crying so hard that I had to get sent home early. Because the lyric that really fucked with me is this is a little bit inside baseball for my leftists out there, but I was around the time where I was reading a ton of like socialist and communist theory because I was in that sort of headspace, and that record is just socialism emo. It's very, very, very but like the lyric like I cut off my arm at the bone in solidarity because capital teaches that there's less when you share. I was like, like I almost threw up. It made me cry so hard, and I had to go home, and it was really embarrassing.
That's funny you bring up that line specifically, because there's a line in the Dead Nettles, just that verse in general, that tell my friends I'm sorry, tell Uncle Sam that he won, comfort my parents in losing a daughter that both of them still call a son. I'm like, that is just like every part of that. I'm like, that's one of the most gut wrenching lines in general. But I was just like, the Uncle Sam, like that part thrown in there too, like just like fuck, like
dude. And it's funny, I wrote that before like we had this current administration. I wrote that lyric like 2020.
like, I wrote that under Biden.
Yeah, I did, dude. I was like, we were like sitting pretty back then, and then
things weren't even that bad. Like
things weren't even really that bad.
Just kind of like, progressive. Like we had fucking like,
I mean, it's like, you know, liberal is, you know, but like then I
it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and then like this record comes out at like the height of Trump being like, trans people, you gotta hightail that out of here, and I'm like, damn. Is it? I had a moment where I was like, "Is it right to release this, like right now?" Like I literally was like, maybe it's not like responsible for me to release
like
this
out of worry, or like out of worry that you were like out of fear, or out of like grifting. You thought you were taking advantage.
I was worried that it would be emotionally unfair to my trans listeners to put it out.
Okay,
that's very real. Like, because we have a song that's our more popular transgender song, which is called Beautiful, and that's like our big show closer. Everyone loves it, sings along here in Nashville, and then it was the most popular trans song we had before, and that's a very hopeful and sweet song. And I was like, I'm really Trojan horsing in like emotional terrorism to these trans people by releasing Dead Nettles on like a random Friday in October. It was I was worried. I was like, maybe people will. Well, and the other thing was that people were deeply concerned for me when it came out. I had I don't know if you ever saw me post about this. Sorry, I need to adjust my. It keeps. That's okay. I'm gonna get the clip for you. Don't worry. I'm gonna get this clip here. People were really concerned for me when that song came out because I got like wellness checks from like 6 or 7 people, like in my life and not in my life anymore, being like, "Are you chill? Like, are you good? Are you gonna like, you know?" And
have you tracked there, Patsy?
I had to release a statement, which I didn't think I would ever have to do, but I had to put a statement out being like, "I'm not gonna end my shit. I'm good."
It's a song. Like you had a notes app apology yourself.
I had the notes app apology to let people know I wasn't going to end my shit. And that's a real story. I was like, man, does this get us emo street cred for me to be making
I think that no, I think like there's a few records like the Scarlet Street record, the Action Adventure record, and I'm gonna throw your record there as well, where it's like those are like that's like the 3-headed dog of like feel bad albums of the year, where it's just like where it's like fuck, like this fucks my shit up. Like I live in Southern California. The world goes my way. I'm trying to listen to something that I could bop around to and just smile, and then I listen to these records and I'm just like fuck. There is a lot of weight and pain in this fucking world.
Hell yeah.
Like, it's a lot to take in.
There you go. I mean, hey, that's what, I mean, like, genuinely, that is what we were going for, is like, we wanted, me and Josh, the people who are we wrote most of the lyrics on this record. I wrote most of them, but he wrote an existentialist guide and then helped me write a lot of the other songs. And his whole philosophy on this record is like, he and I are both horror movie fans that love horror movies that make you cry. Like stuff that's like, it's an A24, like the elevated horror genre, but it's like using fear to explore something that's devastating as hell, like really hard to think about or look at. And we were like, it's kind of not a genre that's like explored a ton. It's not a genre. Like, it's not like, there's not like emo that's like how scary would it be if you were really sad? Like I don't know.
There's like camp, like you say, scary and horror movie, this and that, emo. I'm thinking like, yeah, there's like campy stuff where it's like maybe My Chemical Romancy or something where it's
Yeah.
like macabre, but like that's not A24. Like that's Marvel slasher flick or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
Like you're
and, like-
talking like psychological mind
Yeah,
fuck.
like we are both huge fans of Mike Flanagan and his work, and he did Midnight Mass and Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, and he also did a lot of like Doctor Sleep and a few of the Ouija movies. Like he does a lot of stuff where it's like the point of the horror is to help you reflect on something that's really, really painful. And the record, we wanted it to be sad, also like fearsome in places, but mainly we wanted it to be like explorative of like that really difficult, fuzzy, bad feeling that death makes you feel when you think about it, that little pit in your stomach. And so
No, and it's well done, but it's funny you say the wellness check thing because that literally went into my head too. I'm like, every interaction I've had, Patsy's like the sweetest motherfucker. Like, she's just like bustling with joy over here. And I'm just like, fuck, this is like fucking, like it's funny. I had a conversation this week with my friend Lisa, who has a podcast called Stereotherapy. And I'm always like, whenever we have heavy conversations, I'm like, well, this is a Lisa conversation. Like, I don't know how to get into that, but like, probably heaviest question in the history of our show here, but like the line about your parents, like, is that true? Like, how's that relationship?
yeah, it's not true. I made it up. No, I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if I broke that news? No, I'm lying.
No, we're super cool. Yeah, they were like, super accepting.
I just threw my parents under the bus for that one. No, to be clear, I think that they're wonderful people, and they know that how I feel about this situation. Where some people are very dissociative when it comes to dealing with difficult things in their family. Like there's you might have a family member that's like, went to jail or like,
yeah, the family secret. Everyone's got something or this happened when they were a kid. It's like, it's just not even like a shame, but it's like you're saying like this uncomfortable facing it thing almost.
And when I thought of the most viscerally upsetting thing I could think of, it was the fear of becoming a family secret, of being something that like when I'm gone, they're going to tuck me away in a suit with like my dead name on the headstone and have pamphlets with pictures of me when I was a man.
Yeah. Just like, here's teenage. Yeah.
In loving memory of our son. And when I made this record, the perspective that I took on it was like with that lyric was, I want to be as honest as possible, that in a way that wasn't cruel to my parents, but more so reflecting on how I feel of like, this is true that like they do call me their son still. They still call me he, him, despite the fact that they are accepting. There's a lot of parents that are like that, where it's like, it's an uncomfortable middle ground where they're not ostracizing me. They're not ideologically opposed to who I am. They're not like, it could be a lot worse, but it's an uncomfortable reality of like,
but it almost to like it's almost like in this thing, well, you're our baby and this is what you were when you were our baby and we still see you as our baby, almost like, I
don't see you for what you actually are. I see you for
what I see in my head is like, that's what you're still, that. Yeah. And like, and also like, I don't know. And especially there's probably like a Southern, I mean, like if there's any sort of religious aspect or cultural things too, or just like that uncomfortability of like, did I do something, like, is this like this or that, where it's like they start thinking it's something like that or something like that, or same thing like with the gay son. It's like, like it's uncomfortable for people that aren't, the word I guess is woke, like it's become like a slur, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like you have, like if you're not woke to this shit, like it's uncomfortable.
What I always tell people is like, the thing is like my baseline is discomfort. Like every day when I wake up and I'm in this and I'm living this, it's going to be uncomfortable, sometimes hilarious, sometimes devastatingly. And that is one of those like painful, mean-spirited, I say mean-spirited because it is tongue-in-cheek. That lyric is very much like, how do I in a sentence like say the most bitter thing I could possibly say, which is like,
Yeah.
tell my friends that I'm sorry, tell that the United States government
Yeah.
that they
Tell the
got
motherfucker
exactly
waiting
what
for
they
his
wanted.
tax money. Yeah. You guys.
And then,
Donald Trump, you win, bitch.
yeah, and then tell my parents that they, sorry about your son,
Yeah.
and
Tell them,
it's
their son's gone, even though, I've told you your son was gone fucking years ago. Like,
yeah, and it's a brutal thing. It's a brutal thing, and so I said it because that song is about my last will and testament and something that I have had to settle with because this is something we should probably get into. I almost passed away a couple years ago of an illness and it almost killed me, and I am lucky to be alive. So there was a point in time where I was legitimately around the time I was writing this was legitimately considering like if I die what is going to happen. And one of the things I knew was two things, which was there is a very real chance my family won't find out for a bit because I am living alone right now and I'm rotting in bed and I'm depressed. And then the other thing was like I'm gonna get buried in a suit with my dead
in a
name.
suit with your dead name. Yeah.
And that was like that was very scary for me to have that brush. So a lot of this record is a reflection on like a very real possibility of passing away, which is kind of hard to like talk about, but like like that's to me is like when I think about what was going to happen, it was like, oh, that's probably gonna happen, and isn't that sad? But now, hey, like
Hey, still here. Yeah.
I told my parents if I did die and they had to bury me that I would haunt them forever if they used the wrong name, and that they would be disrespected by every single one of my friends in real life. And so I think that scared them enough to where they're like,
there we go. See, you got to know how to negotiate
Yeah.
in these situations, like
yeah.
you got to know how to approach the straight whites, okay? Like there's ways.
I'm actually pretty good at I've turned some people over to not the cause, but like I've changed the minds of a few MAGA voters.
That's fucking, yeah, like, and it's like a human thing too, where it's like, I think I'm like one of our very first interviews, I have a friend, Willow, who's in like a fucking gnarly metal band in Montana, and she's a big Charger fan too. And I was like, you should be one of the first guests on the show, because like I imagine like there's probably some people will see me and they're like, like fucking white dude, backwards hat, like one of the bros, fucking let's go brand or whatever. And it's like, maybe I can convince them. We can, like we don't have to ostracize them. We can kind of trick them into seeing things a certain way. It's like, if they can understand that, like, you like football, like that sounds dumb, but it's like, it's not that different. Like, I don't think they're actually worried about the bathroom stuff. It's just, it's like, they see it as like the opposite of their life or something like that.
Yeah, to them, we're just aliens, and there's no
exactly. It's like, everything's foreign. Like,
yeah, and all the press that gets reported on us, it's never our successes. It's never us as like good people or heroes in a situation. The things that get reported almost selectively, so some would say, is the stuff where some of us are being insane bad people that are indictments of their character and not of their identity.
Exactly. And I would say like, oh, like, hey, maybe the trans community needs a better PR person, but like, I don't think I think it's very selective on choice.
We have PR people, and then they are like, sorry, I'm just going to be really, really mean to this PR person until they shut up. It's like we had Dylan Mulvaney, who was just like perfectly fine.
Oh shit, I forgot about Dylan Mulvaney.
She was like perfectly fine. She didn't do anything wrong. She just existed as a trans person, and then everyone was like, hey girly, I'm going to need you to get the fuck up out of my face forever. And then people are like, oh, she's the worst. What did she do?
You know what? That one was about?
The beer.
People thought she was hot, and then they felt weird about it.
Hey, listen.
They got
stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Like a tree falls in the forest. A guy finds a trans woman hot, and he feels weird about it. It happens.
Exactly. Exactly. Just accept it. As you're saying about making swaying right wing or something like, yeah. Is this something too, like, I imagine where there's like, I live in like a bubble out here. I imagine like Nashville is a little more moderate or liberal or city-like or the like, but like growing up in general in what is the South still,
Yeah.
probably at times like a little like creates like an abrasion or something like that, where it's like,
Yes. Oh yeah. Um the this is like a PSA for anybody who's listening who is not from the South. The South over the last century has been swindled, duped, isolated, and decontextualized from the very labor movements that built their strength.
Mhm.
The things that we as a culture valued have been devalued and taken away from us in pursuit of identity politics and the destruction of what it means to be from the country. And what I have to say to that is, genuinely, if you are a conservative person who lives in the South, you are a victim or you are a predator trying to create more victims. Because our culture, the South, is not a shortened table. It is a long table. It lets people sit in, it lets people join, and we invite people to eat with us. And that's what, if you're a Christian, that's what Jesus told us to do. And it's what your grandma would have told you to do. And I know if you're the kind of person, some grandmas are very anti having people eat at their table, it would turn out. But
yeah, most aren't though. Yeah, you'd think.
yeah, yeah, you'd think. But yes, the South is, my whole life has been, I've watched a flip-flop specifically in the last 5 years. There was conservative people, like, I get that, like, there's gonna be people that it's like, oh, well, I just can't abide by, abortion or whatever, I support our troops, so I like the Iraq war, whatever the
Yeah.
hell. It is next level, the swing in hatred I've seen from people that I used to respect. I've watched people from my hometown turn into like genuinely like sick people, like
Yeah.
cruel.
We're all of a sudden experts in like, in human biology and like fucking, like airborne diseases.
Yes.
And
yeah. They become
like,
they
damn,
become
the dumbest kids
cruel.
from my biology class in high school are all of a sudden fucking really smart.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like it's like people I like adults I used to look up to as a kid, watching them turn into like cruel, sadistic, mean people who relish in the death of people like me. And it's like,
You start to see it. It's like that motherfucker. You're not they're, and then in their head they might be like, well, you're different. You're different. I'm not talking about you.
yeah. Well,
You're
it's
like, "But
funny
you
because
are."
like there is the thing that's hard about it in Tennessee is like in the South in general is like the same. It's like I think the word is like it's either indigesis or exegesis. It's the idea of like you can impart whatever ideology you want onto biblical text as you want, because it's so casts such a wide net that you can like impart whatever ideology you want into it. Like you could get a Marxist reading of the Bible just as easily as you can get like
Yep.
a neo-fascist reading of the Bible. Ask me how I know.
And you're like, yeah,
It happens
this
all the fucking time.
This
And-
combines in here. Yeah, you can't grift as well off that shit is the problem, really.
Yeah. And well, it's because conservatism in today's culture, I'm not talking about just like conservative ideology in general.
Yeah.
I would say specific, which like I have my own thoughts about that. We're not going to get into that because I do not want to isolate people. I want to try to bring.
I don't
people in
think
with
anyone
this.
watching the Emo Kids Anonymous podcast subscribes to that many right-wing philosophies
We'll
in
see.
the slightest
We'll
bit.
we'll
Yeah,
find out.
Maybe they're, I guess.
Some commenters might find this and be like, "She needs to die." We'll find out. But the idea of like,
Fuck.
it's
Please
terrible.
don't leave that in my comment section.
Yeah. No, there's the idea is just like I'm watching people like slowly become more cruel and more desensitized because like they no longer, the idea, it's not about fulfilling an ideology or like a moral compass or like finding it's all reaction based. So it's all like when I see this thing that I immediately do not understand, how do I equally but oppositely oppose it as quickly as possible?
Yeah, as quickly as possible with like the hottest take. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I think people are afraid to be boring, but the truth is like most of like truth lies in the mundane. So like I tell leftists this, I'm like, you don't have to have a hot take. Like sometimes the most boring take is just the truth. Like
Mhm.
unfortunately, pizza is good everywhere. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter where you get it from. There's no such thing as like it's way better here versus there. Pizza is going to be good everywhere you go, and that's the boring take, but it is oftentimes true.
Wow.
And that's why like conservatives love what they have to do because it asks very not ideologically. It asks very little of them in terms of like logic. It doesn't say like you don't have to use critical thinking to come to these things. If you have a visceral fear reaction, you're going to have 1,000 talking heads saying, "Hey, you're actually right to feel that."
Yep.
Now let's mobilize that. And people are it's so easy to mobilize that because that's a visceral fear-based
It's a feeling.
reaction that all humans
yeah, it's not
feel.
logic based. It's straight running off emotion. Yeah.
It's pure id. And that's why conservatism it spread so quickly. Whereas like leftism has been armchair purity culture for like the last decade.
Mhm.
And it's like, hey, like I can appreciate that you want this to be as strong and unified as possible. The thing that's going to help us is not going to be casting people out, which like within reasonable amounts, like we all understand there's a line and we all know what the line is.
Yep.
But
Yep.
like we can't be looking to find our differences in every single situation. I have people that are true blue Democrats that are a part of my community, and I am a dirty,
Yeah.
redneck, union leftist. And it's like, if you like the cost of community is always going to be annoyance and inconvenience.
Mhm.
And like, if you can't have that, if you can't deal with that, maybe we're not building community, we're building a friend group. And that's a different thing.
That's a way different thing. And we're not getting anything done. And like that, I think we've maybe said on the show, but I've definitely said it like in with our friends where it's like politics and all this is just like I like had like after like the 2024 election, I remember just really sitting with it because like the day of the like I wasn't gonna go vote just because like I didn't care because I was just like, well,
Sure.
obviously that guy's gonna get like the shit kicked out of him, like she's gonna win this and that. And, like I was watching my daughter that day and I was like, I can't 10 years from now my daughter's gonna talk about the first woman president and I'm gonna be an asshole if I look her in the eye and tell her I didn't vote for her. So I went and voted because I just thought it didn't matter. And then the guy like wipes the floor and I'm just like, what is going on? It's like, these people all can't be evil, this, that. And it's like, okay, well, like, I remember like in middle school, like you're running for like class president. It's like the kid that promises the vending machine is going to win. The other kids that are telling everyone to eat their vegetables and that they're not reading enough books is not going to win. And like, yeah, that's what like establishment left-wing, like the Democratic Party in America is very much like we're the hall monitors being like, eat your vegetables. It's like,
and it's funny because like
fun.
We see it like play out perfectly when we see these new progressive candidates. Like Nashville didn't win, but Afton Bain like had a huge point swing versus the last election of her district, which is like, it was close. Like it was close, Afton Bain and Van Epps here in Nashville. And she's a progressive candidate. And it's the same thing with like Zoran in like New York. It's like, if you offer people true, meaningful progress, they will have a visceral, positive reaction where it's like, can you give people hope? Can you tell them like, it's not, it's not a vending machine, but it is like free buses or like, childcare, like affordable childcare. Like when people hear that, the reason it's like, it's the same kind of thing that like Obama campaigned on, which is like, whatever you feel about that guy, like, he was a great campaigner because
Best
he actually
campaigner of my lifetime by a mile. Yeah,
so
like,
far.
say what you want when he gets in there, this or that. Yeah, we can really get nitpicky if we want, but like, fucking hell of a campaign, and it was ran on positive emotions for the most part.
And it was reactionary, and that's why like reactionary content is like net bad for culture, but
Yeah.
we are fighting we have to fight fire with fire. And the way that we don't do that is by being like, hey, actually, friend, you used the wrong terminology. You called us, when you said hey guys when you talked to the group, so unfortunately you cannot say anything else.
Yeah,
and
you're
get
out.
out of
Yeah,
here. Like,
we're swallowing our own tail.
yeah, yes, because it's like, well, those are things we should aspire for, but
Mhm.
they're aspirations, they're not requirements.
Mhm.
You can't idealize your way out of making progress. That is actually like insane. So what I am very a big proponent of is like, have those uncomfortable conversations, sit in that weirdness where your friend like says something that's maybe not super woke, and you're like, how do I talk about this without it being mean? Like,
Yeah,
how do I like conversate with them where it's not like, actually you're being problematic right now. Like, you can have that conversation, but, oh, you know what? I learned that phrase comes from a really bad place, and maybe we shouldn't use it.
yeah.
You know, you can have
And
that
a lot of times, if you
conversation.
point something out, like maybe in that moment there might be like a weird reaction because it's like kind of like
Yeah.
shameful or something, But like,
That's
you're
why
probably
I
gonna
try
just
to
learn
emphasize,
from it.
like,
Like, I
it's,
won't do that again.
yeah, that's why, like, when I'm having those conversations, I try to emphasize, like, it's no big deal. Like, just like maybe we talk, like maybe next time this happens, maybe we just like course correct and we do it differently. And I've had friends that are like, I would say center or like conservative in the worlds that I run in, that misgendered me throughout most of knowing me early on. And the course correction that I took was less of a, oh my God, it was less of
Yeah.
that, which granted, that is a privilege. I'm able to handle that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But like the course correction came from being like, hey, I can tell your heart's in a good place. Let's work on how we have this conversation. Let's sit in that uncomfortableness for a minute, because at the end of the day, I know you don't want to be mean to me, and I
Yeah.
don't want to build resentment for you. So how do we work this
Exactly.
out? And like, that's way harder to do than to say, do you see that person over there that's probably a pervert? Probably
Yeah.
some weird sex pervert.
They're gonna go in the bathroom. Yeah,
They're going in the bathroom,
they're-
and it
They're gonna
can't be to
snatch
pee.
my kid because my kid's the hottest kid. They're gonna steal my kid for their
Which, by the
trafficking.
way, we should all say there's no such thing as a hot kid, and there shouldn't be.
Yeah, right. But like that's like this.
No,
yeah,
I know.
right. Like
It's
that's
like,
is that what is that like I what it is with that stuff? I realized because like during COVID, like I feel like these like rabbit holes started, and I have like friends that are like very, like fairly, very left leaning. And like, I'd see them
Yeah.
even fall into things like the like child traffic. Like I have a buddy who wouldn't let his wife and child go to the Walmart, this or that. And I'm like, oh, they might get snatched up. And I was like, how special do you think you are? Like just the lot, like the statistics of things. I was like, that's not super common that you're like, like middle American, like that's traditionally not how it happens. These targets of these things are usually vulnerable people and this or that. And the sad reality of the situation is the person most likely to harm your kid is one of you guys or
Yeah.
me or one of your parents or something. And that's a fucked up thing to accept. So it's easier
Yeah.
to be like,
or like a position
random
of
pervert.
authority over somebody, like a priest or an educator. And it's like,
yeah,
how do we instead of like treating these things like they're things that happen from random strangers on the people to sow seeds of distrust in your common fellow man, like
Mhm.
how could, it's uncomfortable to say that like it might just be someone that you do trust and care about. And I think a lot of people would rather have that visceral angry like, God, I gotta get that. I gotta get
Yeah,
there's an enemy among us that we gotta
it's
figure.
that goddamn it's the transgender at their schools or something like that.
Yeah.
Like this should,
Dude.
and it's like
And there's
probably
like,
really isn't a problem. It's
what
almost
happens
like
is like, oh, sorry, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's almost like fucked up analogy. I'm sorry, but it's like it's almost like an animal type thing where it's like you're like I'm gonna like that animal like they're like that like they're more scared of you, kind of like you're pointing your finger at them. It's like motherfucker, you guys are the ones with guns.
Yeah.
Like you guys are the scary ones. You guys are the ones fucking watching fucking UFC and shit. Like
it's funny because it's the way I describe it is it's like, did you ever during COVID? Did you ever play that game Among Us?
I've heard a lot about it. I
Okay.
didn't play it, but I think
You
I
get
get
the
like
concept.
one person is kind of the mole and you don't know who it is.
Yes, and the mole is going around killing people. And being transgender in America feels like when you are not the imposter,
But
and
everyone thinks you are?
everyone is like, that bitch is for sure the imposter. And I'm like, I literally just watched Turning Point USA just kill somebody and then vent.
Right.
And then they're like, no, it's actually it's actually you, bitch. And it's like, what? I was doing my tasks, and you can't prove it because everyone's like, no, I've heard this before.
I
heard
have some
this
pretty
happened.
strong anecdotal evidence that I saw on a podcast. Well,
Oh.
we're here providing the anecdotal evidence for the opposite from a podcast for them. So
The only person in the world that I've ever killed. No, that's a joke. That's a joke.
Let's air this out
The
now.
only people that I am responsible for the death of is my old identity.
Hell yeah.
So
That was a fucking bar, Patsy.
I was meant to do a bit. I was trying to be like, isn't that cool? No,
It is. Right? I was like, that's a fucking. That really makes you fucking yeah.
Don't put that
Yeah.
in a clip.
No, don't do that one. No, yeah, I was like,
The only person to die
no,
is my
this
old
is like,
self.
this is a tricky area where it's like sometimes with certain clips it's like, yeah, this is controversial, this is good, this is interesting. Where it's like, I would like people to argue about if Panic at the Disco is a good band or how the
Yes.
Hot Mulligan record is. I don't want people really coming in and like
Can I tell you
questioning
about
people's right to live.
Okay. Here, can we make a pivot then, right quick?
Let's go.
Do we have time?
Whatever you want.
Okay. I don't know if you're on a time crunch. I don't know.
No, I had an interview before this, and Benji's been picked up. So whatever you want. The floor's yours.
Okay, sweet. Well, okay, I have a question for you. This is a conversation I have all the time with the bandmates. What to you is the line between emo and pop punk? And do you think that the distinction matters?
Interesting question, Patsy. If
Yeah.
I want to get really nerdy about it, like, yeah, there's a distinction. And the distinction is if I like it, it's emo. If I don't like it, it's pop. But if I like something, if I don't like something, it's butt rock. If I like one of our friends is like, I have a friend who will text me random bands. Like, she's like, Hoobastank. And I'm like, butt rock. It's like, what's the line? It's like, the line is whether or not I like it.
You're not a fan of the stank?
I think emo at its core, like, they get intertwined, but also at some point in the 2000s, the word emo becomes like a cultural, like a word that gets associated with anything darker. Like, I got people telling me Simple Plan is emo kind of thing. So, like, I think anyone using the word, like, it's like one of those things where, like, if you meet up with a relative that doesn't really know music and they ask what kind of band you're in, you might just be like, I'm in, like, a rock band.
Yes.
You know? Because maybe so with those people, it's like, yes, like, the distinction doesn't matter. I'm happy you recognize any of it. It's kind of like something where it's like, if you recognize someone trying to like properly, like, you know, like properly gender you or something, like, where it's like they're making an effort. Like, this isn't normally their world, but they're trying. I respect, like, you know, like, I am comparing, like, yeah, like my plight as an emo person to as it's,
and it's exactly the same, you guys.
It's the exact same. Yeah, it's just as.
And if you like emo, you're basically like a second class citizen.
Yeah. Well, I actually had this conversation with a friend of ours recently where they actually, like, someone in our group, I got in trouble for talking about this when Amanda was here, but I can say now she's not. But like, someone in our group was like, I had to defend Rob. They asked like how I could be in NapNet with Rob, and Rob's homophobic, and I was like, what? I was like, normally they think I'm gay. It's like, oh, well, you have the video where you're like, well, I'm not gay, but like. But I was saying I would sleep with Davey Havoc, but like one of my buddy Devin, who has this other podcast, was like, Rob's like me, where we grew up getting called so many gay slurs that we just kind of leaned into it, kind of thing.
Yeah, you kind of have a little gay by osmosis.
Right, yeah, like, and I was like, if anything, I'd always be worried that I was like doing like the queer baiting thing or something, where it's like, oh, this guy kind of seems, but he's not. Like I've never heard that before, you know, like, wow, like that's not good. Like, let's that can't be good. Like, let's dive into this.
It's funny. Well, yeah. So like to jump off of what you were saying before about the emo versus pop punk thing, because I have distinct opinions about this.
Let's hear it.
The thing that I believe is that emo is based on two like major things, which is like content of songwriting and intention of creation. So like
Interesting.
if you were making, to me, pop punk is, it's like arrangement and like sound is obviously going to play a factor into this, but like to me it boils down to intention and content of songwriting.
By
Because,
that, do you
like,
mean the general vibe? Like in the sense of like if it's a pop punk song, like there's more of a.
to me, if your music is about, I like that we're in the fridge right now.
I know,
To
yeah,
me-
yeah. I was like, this is a real
Take another
conversation. Let me
Mountain
grab a soda here really quick. All right, yeah, we're going. We're live on location in this motherfucker here.
I wish I had my Mountain Dew. I just have my big cup of water.
There we go. That works. That's nice too.
I'm always
though.
drinking
That's
water.
nice.
What I was gonna say though is that, like, emo to me is like based on intentionality. Pop punk is anything that's like, it is meant for the purpose of being pop music.
Yes.
Or it's meant to be like an interpolation of alternative or punk music, or sometimes even emo music, but for the purpose of like broader consumption.
Mass
Whereas, which is like not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. But like to me,
so more like hook driven in general, you're saying?
yeah, which like you can have a hook in an emo song. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like I think some of the best bands, I mean, like Hotelier has hooks.
Yeah.
Great band. But like an example is like, to me, like when I think of like Jimmy Eat World, to me that is an emo band.
Mhm.
Because to me their music is very intentionally
Intention
emotive.
is emo.
Yeah. It's very emotive, and the songwriting content is what I would describe as melancholic or sad. But like a band like another example is like a band that I would consider to be emo or emo adjacent, despite the fact that a lot of people consider it to be pop punk. And I know this is controversial. I don't think they are Midwest emo. I think they are emo adjacent. I think it is like Modern Baseball to me is, to me, that is a band that veers into emo territory a lot.
Yeah.
It has a lot of folk punk and pop punk bones, and
I think it has pop punk in its like in its DNA or in its like song structure in a way, like almost more. And I think because same thing with pop punk, where like there's these different waves where it's like 2010s onward, it's very like Day to Remember, Chug Chug, Friend, like pop, or you know, like pit oriented, this and that. But like there's a certain like 90s pop punk feel to that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But like at its core, like it still is intentionally emo, like you're saying.
Yeah, and well, and like in the same way that like you can't consider like horror to be the same across different decades. Like to me, if you watch horror movies in the 2000s, you are going to have a distinctly different experience than if you're watching horror movies from like the 70s. It's a distinctly different genre at that point in time, despite the fact that the intentionality is the same. The unifying intention is to create an emotional response of fear, where to me, like, emo is meant to create an emotional response of sadness, melancholy, or reflection, sometimes nostalgia. That's a big one. But like pop punk is interesting because it's like there are tons of pop punk that I would say is like unilaterally pop punk, but also has little sprinkle. You know what I mean? Like it's hard.
There is,
it's like,
and I understand why, like, and this is like a situation where it's like I'm like the fucking emo guy, where it's like, oh, like I'll gatekeep this a little, where it's like, oh, like that's not emo, but like there's very obvious ones, but like I understand how people can get them confused, where it's like a song can feel because it has this feeling to it, and like
yeah,
the plot of like the real emo copy pasta of like, oh, and needing like melodic hardcore elements and things like that, like those have been lost over time, you know. Like if anything, it's just it very much comes down to like a spirit of things, especially like today, like, or like today as in like societally speaking, like our modern day, like there's a lot of bands across this quote unquote DIY emo universe that cover such a wide ground to me. Like we had Quinn, like, you know, Cinema Stare. We had Cinema Stare last week.
that's
and it's
my
like,
fucking bestie. I love Quinn. Shout out Quinny.
So Quinn's
love
the
you so
shit.
much.
And it's just like, but it's just like almost sounds like you'd think like bubblegum pop punky or this or that, but like nope, just like it that still falls into this world, and like even like Amway or this or that, like it all kind of fits in here if you have that spirit.
Yeah, it's so like the reason this conversation happens is so much with me and the band is because like I think about the band that's kind of like a little bit coined the switch to fifth wave for like a lot of people was Home Is Where, because I don't remember the vocalist's name and I'm very sorry, but they were on I also don't know vocalist pronouns, so I'm just going to say the vocalist was on a lot of different platforms kind of campaigning for fifth wave emo, and that at that time, to me, I did not even think of Home Is Where as being emo at all, because like distinctly they have moved towards that, like very much so. But like when I think about like Long Distance Conjoined Twins and that, like that whole record is like there's a lot of like it kind of sounded to me like milk, like Neutral Milk Hotel and like that kind of stuff with like
Sick.
and like it was sick, but I was like, this to me does not communicate emo or Midwest emo, and I don't think that was what they were arguing. It's just like it's so interesting how like there's bands that like it's such a wide net because it's pulling from like 4 generations of different.
That
you know
too,
what I mean?
where
Like
it crosses this, where it's like, oh, it's infusing emo stuff, where it's like, okay, like I can hear a band where they get really mathy or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, this is emo, but also so is these like kind of like heavier alternative rock sounding bands. It's like it just kind of melds in, where I guess the one benefit is it gives someone like me a reason to have a show where I could fill up episode after episode. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you get too deep into this conversation and you let it like upset you, like you probably need to go outside. You know what I mean? Like none of this really matters to the real world.
It has upset me before.
And trust me, same. Like there's I number one guy that needs to touch grass. You're looking at him. Like
there was a period of time where I was fighting for the Low Blow to be recognized as an emo band, because
like, God damn it, I need my emo cred.
I'm like, dude, like I get that we do like a bunch of post-hardcore stuff as well, and we do like a lot of like large stage rock kind of stuff, but like we also, I would say distinctly have I wouldn't say Midwest emo by any means. I don't think we're a Midwest emo band.
But what you're saying though, like, and it's also the same thing here, where like Midwest emo kind of has been conflated to me like fifth wave emo in a way, where it's like that's kind of just its own little subgenre of emo, where like
it's a very specific screenshot. It's like
it's just one specific sound. It's like, okay, like I can see like on the large, okay, Saturdays at your place, if we want to call them Midwest emo, that feels Midwest emo-y to me. There's some Midwest.
Yeah, they have a lot of that. They have a lot of that.
But then, like I get like it's like the Hot Mulligan. Like Hot Mulligan isn't that like
distinctly not? I would say.
Yeah, but like
like it's like these things are not like I think people get. I have this thing where I talk about this all the time, and it has nothing to do with specifically what we're talking about, but it's adjacent, where it's like so many people got into emo because of COVID, because of like TikToks, like the huge influx that Midwest emo had as like a term during that time period, and it resulted in people like becoming a part of the community, which is a good thing, but it was a double-edged sword because there were so many people that became a part of the community minus the context of like the communities that built those things, and minus the knowledge of like going to shows and like the etiquette
being part of realizing it's part of the community, and you're not just like we're not just Stanley Cup consumers kind of thing.
Yes, and because it became a consumer identity so quickly, that was like similar to like people who are into like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like an example, like people who are into like D&D. It's like, well, I have to have all these specific things, and I have to have this many dice and this many things. It's like, yes, these things are awesome. They're really good. They're really cool, but there's not one right way to do it.
No,
there's not there's not a blueprint. And then every band that falls outside of that blueprint, we just kind of don't fuck with. It's like emo is like a guiding principle to me. And that if you fall under that umbrella with the intention of doing so, I think you should be considered emo.
I think that's beautiful. Emo is this North Star in the sky, you're saying, and as long as you're along that pathway, as I walk towards that North Star, as long as I see you along that path, you deserve to be called emo. Is that
if you want to be called it? If you're making
if
like stadium rock and there's no like overlap whatsoever with any of the stuff from the past, there's like an argument
Different
to be
story.
made against it. But like if you're like incorporating elements from any of the waves, I'm like, dude, why are we arguing about it?
This is beautifully positive, so let me spin this in true podcast fashion and just
Okay.
get at people's ids here. What's one band that people consider emo that you don't think is emo at all?
Oh fuck. Oh god. There's so many. Hey, can I tell you something? There's so many that are coming to mind, and I'm not gonna say most of them. The oh god, I don't want to get in trouble for this. I'm gonna do a safe one. I'm not gonna get too spicy. A band that I don't think is emo that everyone considers emo is I mean, okay, to be clear, before I go on with this, because I'm going to say a couple things, and I want to be clear that not being an emo band is not a bad thing.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Not being an emo band is not a bad thing. There are so many bands that are in the DIY scene that get lumped in with being emo bands simply by virtue of just being a part of the scene.
Association,
and
yeah.
I get that. I get why that happens. But we have to look at intentionality here.
Mhm.
Is that band trying to be an emo band? Are they pulling from emo influences? An artist that I love, who is very close with me, and we've actually talked about this, so I feel safe saying this, is King Pink. King Pink has been like straight up. Taylor from King Pink was like, I don't think we're an emo band, but people keep calling us an emo band, and it's confusing.
I don't know what to think about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
because they're distinctly a post hardcore band with like really good vocals, but like they're a post hardcore band slash like alternative rock band, and they have emo influences, that's for sure. Like their last EP they put out is or before the last release they did, is like the one that the Low Blows featured on actually
no, like, yeah, my feature's on there.
is distinctly very emo. But like Taylor and I have talked about it. I was like, I don't know if I don't know if like, would you guys consider yourselves emo? I don't know, not really. But the one that I would say that people I think call emo all the time that I do not think is emo is, I don't think My Chem is emo. I don't think My Chem is emo, and I love My Chem. That's not an emo band. And
Right? Yeah. Okay.
I also feel safe to say that because Gerard doesn't think that My Chem is an emo band.
No.
They're a post-hardcore band.
I think especially like in that era, like, yeah, like that's when I was like coming up. Like emo was the word they said before they called me the F slur. Like, you know, like emo was like it wasn't like bands weren't really claiming emo at the time. Like you kind of like any of those like a My Chem or The Used or any of those bands, like they were post-hardcore, or they were like they're hardcore bands, or they call themselves like rock bands or some sort of. No one wanted to embrace that term. That was just like, it was almost like one of those like Dateline episodes where it happens on the news, and then it's like, this is emo, that's emo, everything that's like 30 Seconds to Mars is emo, and it's like, brother, this,
anything
like,
with distorted guitars and like alternative style singing is gonna be emo.
Yeah, dude's got like a little fringe on his hair, like a little like guy liner or something like that. Like, yeah, like brother, like you're emo, and it's like, that's not how it works.
And like My Chem to me is like inspired a lot of awesome emo bands. My Chem also inspired by a lot of emo bands that are like really good. Like to me, Thursday, Placebo, these bands have distinctly emo sounds, and like even some of the Smith stuff, I'm like, emo wouldn't exist without like some of that. But also,
yes, that's funny you say them, because like I have that where it's like, oh, like, you know, like emo adjacent, this or that, all these waves of emo. It's like, fuck, if some nerd at some point is going to come along and like really revisionist history this and be like, the Smiths and the Cure, like that's the original right there. If you want to go back to like Joy Division, like is Joy Division not fucking?
I think it's like common ancestry. That's what I always say.
Right, there we go. Oh,
it's just common ancestry. It's like they're cousins, but they're not twins. They're cousins.
That's that Christian Science education upbringing, coming out right there. Yeah, like coming out there. Common ancestors. Okay, Richard Dawkins.
And I am just like Richard Dawkins.
Yeah.
And chat, I am just like Richard Dawkins.
I'm trying so hard to think of like a feminized version of the name Richard, and I can't think of one at all.
Hang on, Ricarda.
Regina.
Let's see. Is there a female version? I was thinking of like Dick as like a short.
Dickie, yeah, like
but like I don't know if there's a well, hang on. I was about to say there's no girl version of Dick, but unfortunately I cannot say that there's no girl version of Dick because that's just kind of my life. Unfortunately, that's like my community, so I can't really sell them out like that.
This might be one of the more like low-key, inspirational yet unhinged episodes of Emo Kids Anonymous. Yeah, like it's this nice blend of like, well, fucking, she said it. Like,
hey, they can get mad at me. They don't know the purity of my heart. They don't know the kindness of my soul.
I can fucking, if they've watched this far, they know it. You are a sweetheart angel. Before we wrap it up, legit, one of my favorite records of the year and just very special. What's the next release look like? When should we? I mean, I know we're riding on like, yeah, this has been out for like what, like a month and a half, 2 months almost. I'm like, what's next? When are you gonna give us something else?
I'm thinking the same thing. I don't want to give away too much because we are very conceptual in the way that we roll out these records.
Sick.
What I will say, the next release is probably going to be an EP. It's probably going to be 2026, mid 2026. And that's what we're aiming for. And it's going to be probably a little bit different than what people are used to hearing from us. It's a kind of a way to explore some different sounds. Probably distinctly not emo. But for the purposes
heavy
of
My Chemical Romance vibes coming on this record.
Ooh, maybe some glockenspiel. No, it's
Wow.
I would say what we are doing is we are leaning into more of our horror influences for this next record, for our next EP.
That's based on everything you've already said about that. That's fascinating. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not totally sure how to take that, and that's exciting as fuck.
I think what I'll do, Rob, is that off the record, I'll tell you a little bit more about it, because I am getting really excited about it because the writing of it is almost done already. And
sick.
Yeah, I got started.
So cool.
I got started like right after we did the album release show. I got started writing on it, and I'm already.
Isn't that the worst part as an artist? Is like once you release something, it's done. Then, but like by that point, it's been done for a few months, and you're already mentally almost moved on to the next thing. And you're like, well, I just want to do this next thing now.
It's funny because like I love this record so much, and I've been having a hell of a time promoting it, like a good time, but. Like, I'm already like, we just got to keep making shit, dude. Like, I want to keep making stuff because I've got a lot left to say, especially at the current crossroads we're at as a culture. And there's some stuff that you and I talked about tonight that I think will show up in this next release. So that's the next release. That's
cool. I think the most important thing art can be is like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And at times, like you said, like that, like you're like, I'm living in that every day. Like, it's very important to like sit in that uncomfortable. And I think the Low Blow as a project, as a band, like the new record, all the music you make is like, it makes you feel a lot of feelings, and a lot of them can be uncomfortable. And it's like, that's good art. Art's supposed to make you feel like that's the difference between pop punk and emo to me. Is pop punk is like all a good time, or the sadness is very surface level, and then this is kind of like, these are a lot of feelings to process. Like,
I want my art to be disquieting.
Yes.
And a perfect screenshot of a feeling. Beautiful. Like a Pixar movie.
Hell yeah. The Low Blow. Starring Jamie fucking Foxx.
Yeah. We are Pixar emo. Looking at
Thank you for giving me that great tagline there before we I'm gonna get cease and desisted so hard by fucking Disney. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna hit and
This show is a part of the Never a Phase Network, a collective of creators dedicated to keeping the spirit of the scene alive. Our network of creators make social media content, they share music news and reviews, and of course bring you great podcast content. For more information, please visit neveraphasenetwork.com and follow Never a Phase Network on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Hey man, it's your boy Petty Hendrix, man. You tuned in to Emo Kid Anonymous. Check it out, you did.